Women are literally driving the human race towards extinction at the moment in the biggest case of and find out the world has ever seen.
Hey beautiful people, how you are doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome back to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing great. So today's video says it is an interesting video, and ladies, sit down. Now this man, the patriotic system is finding out, like, the F around, and now they are finding out. So apparently this video is a video of a sister who came online to like really break it down, and she was talking about how birth rate is lower than the death rate and how society has overlooked women and see like women are not important. But now that a lot of women are choosing to go child free, now the patriotic system and the society is seeing the impact it is in the workforce and even in the society as a whole. And she wanted to talk about how women choose to give up their life back then, choose to give up their life and all that, and yet women are one of the most disrespected people, and they don't see what we do as adding value to humanity and all that. And now that women are like, you know what, we're not doing this anymore, now they are beginning to see the important role we play in humanity and how we keep the existence of humanity. And you want to talk about how women should start asking for incentives before even having kids, and how women have stopped dealing with all the bumps and the dusties. We don't want to deal with them. We rather use our little money, travel the world, live our life, and be happy. And yet people will call us selfish, but so what? Anyway, guys, let's go hear what the sister has to say, then we'll come back and talk more. We're going to hear other people's reaction to what she said, then I'll come back and share my thought. But go down in the comment section and share your own thought.
Women are literally driving the human race towards extinction at the moment in the biggest case of and find out the world has ever seen by refusing to have kids because they don't like the way men treat women and they don't like the way that society treats mothers. And so they're like, you know what, instead of having kids and continuing the human race, let's just go extinct. Like, let's just all go extinct. And this isn't only happening in South Korea. I don't know if you saw that report a few weeks ago that said that for the 4th year in a row, the birth rate there was dangerously low compared to the death rate. And if that continues, you end up with loads of old people and not enough young people to support them and support the economy. And then you have fewer women in each generation, and fewer of them are having kids, and then eventually you go extinct. And when they're asking women in South Korea, why are you doing this, in part they're saying they don't like men. They don't like the way that men treat them. And they're like, why would I have a kid with this idiot? Like, why would I breed from this idiot? Why would I pass this idiot's DNA on? I don't care if you say that we're going to go extinct. Like, I don't care if my uterus is all that stands between, like, us and extinction. I'm not doing it. It's not worth it for me. So I'm not going to do it. And this is happening everywhere. Like, they reckon that by the year 2050, 75% of nations will be in the same situation. And by 2100, the year 2100, it'll be 97% of nations. Because women are refusing to have kids because we're sick of this crap. Like, in my country at the moment, in Britain, the average birth rate is 1.5 children per woman. And it needs to be 2.1. And it's set to plummet to 1.3. And the same thing is going to happen in the US. Because women just don't want to have any kids. And I can see why. It's because forever we have been told that all we're good for is having children, but also that that's not really that important because it still doesn't make us the default gender. It still doesn't make us the important gender. It's men who get to earn all the money and have all the fun. They're the ones who get to keep all of their leisure time. They're the ones who get to own most of the world's land and speak most of the world's words. Because we're just women and mothers, and that's not that important. And so why would we do it? Like, why would we do it? What's the incentive here? Because women actually know that having children takes a massive toll on our physical health and our mental health, and that we're then expected to live our lives in servitude to these children, to these future worker bees, so that they can take care of the aging population. And our entire lives will be changed by having a child. But we're also constantly told that that's not that important, but that's all we are, but that's not important. And so we're looking at the situation and we're like, why would I do this? I'd rather put a backpack on and go travelling. I don't care if we go extinct. Like why would I do this? Where's the incentive? There isn't one. We're not even appreciated for doing it. Like, we're actually, like, brought down for doing it. Why would we do it? Why not instead just go out there and explore this world and live our lives? And that's what more and more women are doing. They're making the decision to do that instead. So here's the thing, if you don't want to go extinct, you better beg us to start having kids, and you better make it worth our while. Like, that's the only solution here. That's the only way that we get out of this mess. Women need to be recognised for their importance, not just in terms of having children, but everything glorious that they bring to this world. Because we've been told for all this time that, like, it's not us, it's not you, you're not the important ones. Like, you guys aren't the key workers here. And now actually we're seeing that we are the key workers, and actually we are vitally important for the continuation of the human race. And before anybody jumps up in here and is like, well, then you guys are selfish, why don't you just take one for the team and sacrifice your physical and mental health to have children? Like, what, they just do that. The human race depends on it. This isn't our fault. It's yours. It's society's fault, and society has been run by men for all these years, and you have left us feeling underappreciated and unvalued for everything that we have to offer, including having children and raising them and raising the next generation. And we just don't want to do it anymore. And we're not gonna. Down and find out. Women are literally driving the human race towards extinction at the moment in the biggest case of and find out the world has ever seen, by refusing to have kids because they don't like the way men treat women, and they don't like the way that society treats mothers. And so they're like, you know what, instead of having kids and continuing the human race, let's just go extinct. Like, let's just all go extinct. And this isn't only happening in South Korea. I don't know if you saw that report a few weeks ago that said that for the 4th year in a row, the birth rate there was dangerously low compared to the death rate.
Aside from loving everything she says in her video, this reminds me of the story of Oshun, who is one of the original F around and find out ladies. The story goes that God sends a group of people down to Earth to help build the start of civilization. And each person that he sends down has their own unique job, their own unique mission to help to build up the community. There is the man that represents the ego, there's the man that builds the houses, there's the man that creates the tools, and then there is Oshun. Oshun represents the divine feminine, and she represents love, sensuality, and sweet water. And one day, one of the men in the group makes a comment that they don't really need Oshun, and she's very sensitive to insult. So she leaves. And she goes and sits on the moon to powder her face. And what ends up happening is that all of the water starts to dry up, and they can't build anything, and they can't grow any food, and they can't do anything. So they go up to the Most High and they ask him, why did you send us down here if we can't accomplish anything? And he looks around at the group and he notices that someone is missing. So he summons up Oshun from her resting place. And she explains to him that they insulted her. They were dumb enough to think that they didn't need love, that they didn't need sensuality, that they didn't need sweet water. And so the Most High has them apologize to her. And she forgives them and says to them, don't let it happen again. I originally heard this story from a woman named Louisa Tesh, who is an orator and storyteller. And she says that we look to these stories to see the manifestation of how they are existing in our current reality. We see the absence of the divine feminine and Oshun's energy and the way that we have poisoned our water supply. We see it in the manifestation of the trafficking of children, the exploitation of women, the trafficking of women. We are seeing it with all of these stories coming out in Hollywood of how children are abused and exploited. The trafficking industry is one of the top 3 money-making industries in the world right now. We see it in the addiction of porn and how it's ruining relationships. And we see it in the rejection of the divine feminine. And this is not just the rejection coming from men. This is also the rejection that is coming from women. And I say that because I've been a content creator on here for a couple of years, and when I talk about women who are stay-at-home mothers and stay-at-home wives, I see women in the comment section just annihilating them and disregarding them and looking down upon them and telling them how their role in society is so much bigger and better than just being a mother and just being a wife. That they're lazy, that they are grifters, that they're, they've wasted away all of their talents to just become a mother. Society looks down upon mothers. They look down upon women who choose to take the path of motherhood over being a CEO or over being a career woman. I see women who make fun of women who are soft, who are kind, who demonize these qualities in women by calling them weak. The patriarchy is a society that was built by men for men. And because it is a society built for men by men, I believe that women think that they have to become like men in order to be respected and in order to be happy in life. We also see in America that maternity leave is not mandatory. It is not mandatory for a company to allow a woman to stay at home with her child. I saw a story the other day of a woman who was struggling financially, and she had children and she was a single mother, and her father was sick and she needed to help with his health care, and so she decided to go on OnlyFans. And she was glorifying this platform because it was allowing her to pay for all the things that she needed to pay for in a very fast time. And I just thought to myself, how sad is it that women think that the only way out to pay their bills and to live a life of financial independence is by selling their bodies online. Like, this is what we're being told, is if you want to make a lot of money and you want to make it fast, just exploit yourself on the internet for men. And I look at old Hollywood movies and how the men were men. They were real masculine men. They were providers, they were protectors, they relished in their masculinity. And I look at movies and shows nowadays, and it's men who have no common sense, who cannot take care of the home. These movies that, make fun of these men who, the women go out to have fun and the men just create chaos in the home. And they, they're like children themselves. And the feminist movement has created more responsibility for women than ever before, because we're having to go work full time, raise our children, give birth, and also be a great wife to our husbands. We're having to literally do it all, and we're not built for that. We don't have hormonal cycles that are built to be in this hustle and bustle of life. Now, I live in the Middle East, and for me, life here is way better for women. Motherhood is still seen as something that's sacred, and in fact, the Quran says that heaven lies under your mother's feet. We even have our own subway cars here for safety. I even knew of a girl who called the police on a man who was harassing her, and they deported him from the country. I'm not knocking women for deciding to not have children and deciding not to get married. I don't think it's for everybody, and I don't think a lot of societies are built to support that and to celebrate that. And I think America is one of those places, which is one of the reasons why I left. I think the lack of God in people's homes and in people's lives in the Western world has created the downfall of men in particular, because men are supposed to lead. They're supposed to lead. How can they lead us to anything if they have weak character, if they have weak morals and weak values and no discipline? And our society has created a lot of weak men. And I don't blame women for not wanting to procreate with these men. Not every man is supposed to pass on his lineage. Only the strongest ones are supposed to endure. Anyway, something to think about.
Women are literally driving the human race towards extinction at the moment, in the biggest case of
You should 100% go watch that video, because she ate that shit up. And it's funny because there really is no incentive to sit there and have kids. I remember, and I've been saying this for years to men, like, I have a birthing fee. I don't have no kids. They'd be like, what you talking about, a birthing fee? And I have told men that in order for me to feel comfortable having a child, a man would have to give to me $30,000 before I even have the kid. So a lot of men would ask me, oh, but what that's for? And I would tell them, that's insurance money. That's for if you decide to skip out, which a lot of y'all do be deciding to do. You see what I'm talking about? If y'all decide to skip out, which a lot of y'all do end up doing, at least I'll have some type of cushion money to be able to hold me and my kid down for a little bit. Oh, you should have your own money. I will. I will have my own money. But at the end of the day, if I ain't lie down on myself, I'm ripping she in two to push out a fucking watermelon. Like, come correct with some kind of bread, something. Government treating maternity leave like it's a privilege. Like, oh, look, all I'm gonna say is that we really eating that. We really eating that. Hold it down, ladies. Keep them legs tight like glue, like blah.
Please go down in the comment section and share your thought. Love to know what you think about this conversation down in the comment section. But please keep it respectful. Here on the channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a respectful way. So feel free, share your opinion. I really like this conversation. I do enjoy this conversation because I feel like these are some of the things we talk about here on this channel. We hear most of us women were saying, like, you know what, we're not having kids anymore. And that's because now we're being very, very intentional. And we're like asking the question, like, why do we really want to have kids? Why are we having kids? Even though there's a lot of women in my culture, in my society, that are not asking those questions now. But I can see it eventually, like the original creator said, actually trickles down. And women are like, you know what? No. I already did a video of talking about Korean women choosing not to have kids, not to get married, not to have sex, literally not to deal with men. And seeing the type of conversation we're having here on this channel, I know that we can clearly see that we as women, we are deciding that, you know what, we're going to decenter men, we're going to go live our lives. And this is really affecting society as a whole. And now I feel like now they are getting it. They might not get, some of them are still like, nah. But I feel like eventually, when they're saying the birth rate is dropping, younger people, we have more older people than younger people, we'll definitely go to extinction, and then they know how important women is. And I really feel like this is a very good movement, we as women, that we're looking after ourselves, we're asking the right questions. We're not just going with the patriotic system of how they say, okay, you know what, all you need to do is to be a daughter, then be a wife, and then procreate with whatever. Like making men seem like the prize, even though really we are the ones doing most of the work. Our body is the ones that carry this child. Our body, we are the ones that take care of the children. Eventually, when the man wants to walk away, we are the ones that are being left with the child, and we raise this child that ends up being part of the society. So it's a trickle-down effect that now we as women were understanding our value. And that's why even women that don't understand their value, I need them to start understanding their value. A lot of women don't, especially in my society. Like, I really like the way this conversation is developing, like from the Korea to the UK to the US, and women will start having this conversation, and thank God for the internet. But in my culture, in my society, a lot of women, which some of us, like myself, are waking up to it, we're catching it, and still not there. Today, I happened to walk in, I was in the salon, I was making my little puff hair, and there was a young girl, that girl would probably be in her 20s, and we were talking, she was just barely just talking about how she just have a child, and she didn't like the way her body is, and she's a stay-at-home mom, and she was talking about how she doesn't like her body, literally. And I kept quiet on the most and all that. And then she said something that just hit me. And I could hear a little bit of the conversation of some certain things that was going on, but which I wasn't really, I'm not the type that gets into people's business. But it was when she said she wants to give birth to all her children first and fast before she would do anything and start taking care of her body, literally. That was just like a tick to me. And I asked her a valid question. I was like, why do you want to have more kids? And she was like, because I love children. And I was like, okay, any other reason? I always like people talking. Okay, I was like, any other reason? She was like, somebody that will take care of me in old age. Guys, we already have that conversation. That is not even guaranteed. And I told her, like, okay, so what is in it for the child? And how does that improve? How does these two things you said is the reason you want to have, how does it improve and better your life? And she was looking at me like, what are you saying? What are you saying? And then I went into the conversation like, you know what? You have to take care of yourself. And I feel like, it's a life mission now for me to do this. Like, you have to take care of yourself. Like, I was just preaching throughout the gospel we preach here on this channel about how you need to take care of yourself, how to secure yourself financially, how this old system, how the patriotic system works, which, funny enough, she does not even have an idea. But once I start pointing out certain things out, she was like, okay, I get you, I see you, ma, and all that. So I feel like eventually women are picking up, women were having the conversation among ourselves, we're picking up, we're knowing our value and our worth in society. These men, they need us more than we need them, okay? And I know for society to grow and all that, we need to work together, but majority, we as women, we do most of the work. So let's put 10 to down, because right now all we have is just crazy things happening. People that are not ready to take responsibility. We're going to produce the next generation, and yet they don't value us. A woman is seen like, what they're like, what is she doing? Is it not just to have kids? Is it not just to stay at home? What else is she doing? We don't, financially, we are losing. Mentally, we are losing. Emotionally, we are losing. Like, we're all drained in all these aspects, and there's no incentive with it. Ladies, I feel like this is a point in time where we as ladies, we should start putting an incentive to, even if we choose to have kids with any man, and put an incentive with it. And we should stop having kids with just anybody, because we, at the end of the day, we deal with them. The other day, I posted a video about random man from Atlanta and Morgan. Look at the whole madness that is going on there. So, ladies, I feel like it's about time. We need to know how we are affecting, like, we're hitting society, we're hitting the patriotic system where it hurts now, because we're standing 10-2. And it's really interesting how, even though in my society, women are still like really big on having children and doing all that, it's really interesting how it has really cut down. I would say the birth rate has dropped. It might not as drastically dropped like it has in Korea and the Western world, but it has dropped. Like, my own mother has 6 kids. My sisters are having 3 kids. 2. I don't have. You get it? So I really like the fact that we are women, we're having this conversation. So there have to be an incentive for you to give up and use your body, your energy, your mental strength, your emotional strength, your spiritual strength to bring another human being and raise that human being. Look out for yourself. Anyway, guys, please go down in the comment section and share your thought. Love to know what you think about this amazing conversation down in the comment section. But please keep it respectful. You're on the channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a respectful way. So go ahead and share your thought. Go ahead and share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go ahead and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see, and that will be you supporting this channel and this girl. With that said, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.